Voices is the newest feature to the DOA channel. This is a podcast where the outdoors comes alive from the people who live it. Each episode brings you face to face with hunters, anglers, and adventurers as they share their stories, their lessons, and their voices. More than just tales of the wild, Voices dives into the person behind the adventure, capturing the grit, gratitude, and wisdom that make outdoor life unforgettable. Available in both audio and video, every conversation is posted on YouTube so you can see and hear the stories as they unfold. For years, I've invited you into the raw wilderness that captures those moments of the outdoors. Standing just yards away from big game, feeling the surge of adrenaline as an arrow leaves the string, and sharing the flood of emotions that follow a harvest. Alongside the triumphs, I've opened up about the hard lessons and the mental battles that come with facing the wild landscapes of Alberta. These experiences have built a foundation of authenticity and connection with my audience, and now I'm expanding that journey. Voices is where I bring in the people who inspire me. Hunters, anglers, and adventurers, so together we can share their voices, their challenges, and their outdoor journeys with the community that we're building. Voices, a podcast by DOA, Dorward Outdoor Adventures. Voices is brought to you in part by Wapiti River Outdoors. Every elk hunt tells a story, and mine begin with Wapiti River elk reeds, crafted locally here in Alberta. Their calls are built for authenticity, and they've become the voice I rely on in the backcountry. Visit WapitiRiverOutdoors.com for all your elk reeds, bugle tubes, elk accessories, and trail cameras. My guest today is none other than Jon Lehman, and if you're already following Jon on social media, you might recognize him as the guy taking ice baths in the fire hall, to bow hunting bull elk, to shooting archery reps in his backyard each and every morning, and also mentoring his two young sons in the outdoors, but most recently taking up trapping and building log cabins in the middle of the mountains. These are only some of the things that we will touch on today's podcast, and in a busy time of year, Jon, thanks for taking the time to sit down and talk with me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's an honor to be on.
Yeah, it was weird. I hope my face isn't too red. We were just before we started recording here, we started talking about the snow we've been having now. So I guess at the time of this podcast, it's December 27th, just a couple days after Christmas. So we're in the middle of Snowmageddon, and we're shoveling out. But yeah,
it's winter.
I want to start with. I mean, I'll use the word entertained, intrigued, jealous of what you share on social media. And we're going to get into a whole bunch of that. But if you're watching on YouTube, I also like to put all of my guests' credentials and where you can find them. So, Jon, why don't you take us through where we can find you on the social media platforms?
Yeah, it's just JLehman05 on Instagram. And that's kind of what I've had the longest. And then most recently, I started Lehman's Outdoor Living on YouTube. And those are kind of the two main places. And then just Jon Lehman on Facebook. But Facebook, I don't do it. Just kind of like, I don't know. I don't go on there. A ton of copycats, kind of Instagram, and then Facebook Marketplace. Who doesn't go on there?
Marketplace.
Yeah. Who doesn't go on there? So yeah, those are the two big ones. And YouTube's kind of new to me, so we're working through that. And yeah, it's been good.
For sure. And navigating through the unknowns of algorithms and what to do and where to do it and all that.
Yeah. Stuff. You know what? I've seen it posted a few times now, but I just started posting like consistently. And I was like, oh, this is just going to annoy people that I know. Yeah. And I don't know. Sometimes you just got to stop caring what people think and just do you. I think we've been given kind of like you touched on my kids. I think we've kind of been given, everyone looks at social media different, and I understand that, but I think we've been kind of given a gift to like, I don't know, you can show everything you did at different ages, and you should always be able to go look back on that. So it's kind of cool. And so, yeah, I just post it. And to be honest, the YouTube thing, the kids, like, I've been bugged to do it for a while, and I can get into a whole story about that. But so finally I bit the bullet, and the kids, now people ask me, I'm like, honestly, I could care if anyone watches it. The kids, they put it on, and they always ask me about this and ask me about that. And, oh, Dad, can you put one with me on it? So, you know what? That's enough for me. I don't, it's good enough. If they watch it, it's good. So,
Yeah, we always talk about that time capsule too, right? Like it's funny. I started doing my YouTube channel, I think back in 2019 when I posted my first one was with my first elk. And even now and again it'll show up or something and I'll quickly watch it and I'll be like, wow, I was 30 pounds lighter. Wow, I didn't even have any gray hair then. So to see, especially with your kids in it, right? Like to see them grow and to see where you came and how far you've come, that's awesome. I do want to say I do enjoy the stories that you put on. Like your Instagram following has skyrocketed, and I'm not sure of where the numbers are right now, and it doesn't really matter. But the things that you post, and I say I'm jealous because I see where you get to in the remote wilderness and the drones. And I think we both have the same drone, by the way. Maybe we'll get into that a little bit later too.
Yeah.
But just to see that, I was like, oh man, John's been out at the mountains again. Oh, John's at the cabin, and it almost invites the viewers there with you, right? And one of my other friends, Dan, who runs DC Outdoors, he's the one that gave it to me in a perspective of kind of why we share those stories. And it's kind of a twofold conversation that we got into. And it's like, we're sharing it for the people that aren't able to get there. And it helps bring that outdoor lifestyle, that outdoor world that you and I are both involved in, into them a little bit. Right. And it's such an amazing thing. So,
I agree wholeheartedly. When I first started, without like my dad always used to carry a little wind up camera everywhere he went. So I was always like, really liked images, and I'll try to make this short. I've said this on a few, if people know me, they know this story a little bit, and so I originally picked up a camera, and I always wanted to get good with the camera, and I'm not good yet, but like I've gotten places. And so I spent some money on a really good camera and just started taking that out, and I really enjoyed pictures. And then a long time ago I had the opportunity to kind of dabble my feet into like starting a TV show, and it just took the fun away. And I wasn't on, like, we had to try to get sponsors and do a few things. Without getting into that story, I'm just like, no, I'm sticking to my camera. And then, so that's what I mean. I started taking pictures and kind of just working with some companies. And back then, Instagram was like just pictures. Like Reels, I don't even think existed, which makes me sound old, but I don't think it was that long ago. And so just pictures. And then Reels kind of took over. And then I still obviously take my camera. It's always on my shoulder, but Reels kind of took over. And then I never wanted to be that guy that, like, put writing in my Reels. But I agree, like there's certain things that you experience where you just like, you see someone else's reel and the video itself might be different, but like the text or the caption that they have on screen, it kind of matches your vibe. So I just kind of go with the flow. And followers is, like you said, it's cool. It definitely has taken off, and that was kind of cool. And I got a story with that too. It really took off this spring, and I literally remember where I was, and I like looked at my phone. I was at a gas station, bear hunting on my way home, and I had like a hate comment, and I'm like, what is this? And so like I clicked on it, and I'm like, oh wow, that reel has 250,000 followers. And then I'm like, I watch a lot of Cam Hanes stuff, and I'm like, obviously the shirt too, but I'm like, I guess the hate starts now. And I was kind of rattled about it at first, and now I just don't care what anyone says. But so it took off, and I'm blessed to be able to do what I do. And to get into the story of, the trap line and the cabin, it's just cool to be able to share something like a pastime that's kind of lost, I guess. So and I guess then it wasn't a pastime. People made a living doing it. So
yeah, for sure. I don't have that on my list, but you know what? Let's get into that a little bit. The hateful comments. It's not something that I've experienced. I get the odd one here and there, but I bet you the amount of negative comments that I've received from what we'll call the trolls of the internet has been under 10. I probably under 10, where it's kind of depending on what the comment is, will I choose to interact or will I just delete and block and move on? Do you get a lot of those, and how do you deal with them?
I mean, I wouldn't say I get a lot. Maybe it's a bad thing. I do get some. The first ones I dealt with, I was rattled, but I refused. I shouldn't say I refuse. I don't like being a keyboard warrior. Nobody wins at that. If you want to chirp me, you can chirp me to my face, and I'll have that conversation with you. But so the first one, actually, I like clicked on the page, and the guy, I want to say he was like, he had like pictures. He was an elk hunter and on horseback. And I just responded. I said, something to the effect. I'd have to go look at the comment, but I'm like something to the effect of, "Hey man, you look like a killer. We're on the same team. Spread positive vibes," right? Like I'm here to. We're all you. I don't know. We're all. Everyone gets judged. Everyone does judge. It's hard to do that, but at the same time, like I think a big like roadblock for people is like putting themselves out there. So the first few, there weren't many, but the first few was just like, I just said positive stuff back. I'm not going to get into a keyboard match, and then after that, I just ignore them. I actually don't even block them because unless they say something really offside, like that, I don't even block them. I'm not even giving that justification. You can keep watching. I don't care.
It's providing traffic to your sites, right? So
yeah, keep clicking. I don't care. Yeah. So no, it's been, it is what it is. I kind of got past that, and I listened. I say this a lot too, but it stuck with me for a long time. I've listened to. I watched a Netflix series on Garth Brooks, and he in one of the Netflix things, he put his hands up and he's like, "What is a blessing can be a curse, and what is a curse can be a blessing." And so, yeah, I don't want to get all into crazy, but I was like, wow, he's got lots of fame, and he talked, and I don't have that fame, but just he talked about, there's a downside to that, but then there's other things in life that there's a downside that you can take a positive look out of. So, yeah, it always stuck with me, and I just keep on doing me.
No, and that's all you can do, right? And even like you said, where you said you share the videos and you put the little captions up there. But I think what we do in the outdoor community, I'll wrap us all into that same group, is that we post things that we enjoy doing, but other people can relate to that. And maybe not everybody relates to everyone's content, or like, oh, I don't like that guy. That guy's an idiot. And maybe you're not watching my podcast because you're like, oh, Jeff, that guy, he doesn't know anything. And maybe you're looking at it going, oh, I like Jeff. And oh, that Jon guy, oh, he's an idiot. I don't like him. Like, we're all going to be attracted to different things. Yep. And I think as long as we're respectful, and like you said, we're all on the same team. We might do it a little bit differently, but we're all out there doing what we love, trying to share that art that's maybe losing ground a little bit. I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's definitely, and you know what, we're all human. It is what it is. Like this hunting season, I was seeing everyone, you're killing stuff. And in my mind, I'm like, oh. But, I just send positive vibes. Like I'm like, what, great work. Good for you. Like maybe it'll spread my way. Right. Like, so all on the same team. And that's just kind of like, there was that roadblock to get started and do all that. And then, it'll continue. There's always going to be people, but
For sure. Let's rewind a little bit. And you just mentioned a couple minutes ago here that you were with your dad. Your dad would bring the wind-up camera. So take us through kind of how you got into hunting outdoors, where it started, at what age you were, and kind of give us that quick little snapshot of where you started, where you are now.
Yeah, so for me, being outside was, I'm 37, so born in 88. So for me, you know what? I actually didn't start hunting until, I want to say I was 13. My dad was a big fisherman. So my dad passed away in 2015. He was a big like fisherman, but like I grew up out on a farm. So I kind of broke horses. Like I hate horses now, which is ironic, but at a young age, I broke horses. We had quite a few horses, and, I didn't grow up with a lot of money. So, back then we didn't have phones. I maybe had like a Super Nintendo, which I played Duck Hunter, that Duck Hunter game on, or a regular Nintendo. And so anyway, it just kind of, my dad's best friend who lived next door. I sometimes post at the beginning of November. I have a picture I post every November almost. It's me in a tree stand. So that's him. And so he hunted and he did stuff outdoors. So it just kind of started with like that. And then my cousin came out and he was a hunter. And so I remember at like 13, me and my dad started hunting with him that year. And then from that year moving forward, like I loved it. So we started hunting, but it was like just rifle. The bow stuff didn't start till 27. Well, I bought a bow in 2014, didn't do a ton. And then 2017, it really took off. So that's kind of like a short snippet of it, but like outdoor stuff, like we were always outside cutting firewood and like, I don't know, doing stuff on the farm. And like I said, I've never been a video game guy. Like right now, all I have an N64 down in the cupboard over there. It doesn't come out very often. And so it's just, that's kind of, how it happened. And then from there, my personality is, started bow hunting, and then from there it just kind of took off. I got asked one year to go on a bear hunt. He's like, a buddy of mine was like, "You want to come bait bears with us?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And then that took off, and so yeah, I just jumped in with 2 feet, and yeah, I haven't looked back.
What was the first animal you harvested?
Well, a whitetail deer.
Whitetail deer with the rifle?
Yeah,
Obviously,
with a
yeah.
rifle. Yeah, yeah.
And how old?
308. Yeah.
How old were you?
I think I was 13. I'd have to
Okay.
ask my mom. You could hunt at 12 then,
Oh, you
but
can.
I'm pretty sure I was a year past that when we started.
Right.
I have the picture, and I'd have to go back and look, but I think it was 13 or 14. So yeah, and
You
then from
remember?
there,
Do you remember
yeah,
it like it was yesterday, or is that one of those things that has stood out with you for a long time?
oh yeah, like that stood out, and yeah, from that point forward, we hunted different back then. I don't know, you pushed bush and you drove around, and like it was just different. And guys will still do that out here, but I don't know, it's just different. And you knew everyone, like it was just a different time. But yeah, it was really good. And then yeah, I got my job, which allows me, I work shift work, and so allows me some days off that I wouldn't normally get. So I get 6 days off quite frequently. You know that. I used to work with your uncle,
Yep.
who's retired. Good for him. So yeah, it provided me the opportunity to just get out there more. And then I kind of was of the opinion, like, kids are not, and everyone's different, but I was like, I'm gonna still do what I love to do, and I'm gonna try not to miss stuff, but at the same time, I don't want them looking back, being like, "Oh, Dad, you used to do all this cool stuff. Why'd you stop?" And so it's starting to pay off now with my 2 older boys, because they're right in there. Like my oldest got us. They moved the age to 10, and he turned 11 in September, so he was able to hunt. Well, he was able to hunt all year, right? So that was kind of like piecing things together last minute, because the rule change was like what, June or something, so
Yeah.
May. So
Yeah, kind of when the regs came out. Yeah, it was like,
yeah,
oh, here we go.
yeah, and he wanted to draw, and I actually emailed them and they said they hadn't. The draw booklet was done before the rules, so you weren't able to draw this year for him.
Okay.
So yeah, so no, it's been good. Hopefully I answered that question. Sometimes I
No, for
go on
sure.
a tangent.
So you have 3 kids altogether, the 2 boys and then a young
Yep.
daughter. What are the boys' ages?
So the boys are with my ex-wife, and they are 11 and 8.
Okay.
Just turned, like, both of them are in the fall. And then my daughter is with my current girlfriend, and she is, well, it was 20 months on Christmas Eve, so she's 2 in April.
Okay, I knew
The
she was
month
getting
thing.
closer too. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
So with the boys, is it something that they've seen their dad do and they wanted that interest, or did you have to kind of throw it out to them and be like, "Hey, does anyone want to do this?" Or how did you get them into it? Because on all the videos that you share, it looks like they are knee deep into it. They're just taking it all in, which is awesome to see. So how did their love for it start?
Well, I kind of made them come. Like, not, they just were so young, there wasn't a choice. So as far back as I can remember, so they're both very different boys. Like my oldest, he's gonna be like me. He's gonna be 2 feet in. He wants to hunt every minute of every day. Had him bow hunting. Like, there were times I had to turn around this year and go get him, because I was gonna go on a hunt by myself, and you know how kids can be, right? Like, and I wanted to just go, and I'm like, okay, I'll turn around. So that, like, he is hooked. My youngest loves it, but he's just a bit softer personality. So yeah, I just started taking them out at a young age, right? So my oldest, I would take him shed hunting. Like, I just had a backpack, he would be on it. Yeah, I'm trying to think what else. Deer hunting and stuff was pretty hard, but I took my oldest bear hunting when he was, oh, I gotta think about this. I think I got that bear in 2021, so he would have been 6, I think.
Okay.
6 or 5, and he was in the stand with us when I shot my bear. So
Yeah.
that was and I've had the boys bear hunting both very young age, because it's something, it's something they're in a stand, and when you're baiting bears, it's just, you get a little more action, so they're not as bored, and you don't have to quite sit as quiet. You wait till the bears commit, and then they're like, my boy, the first time I brought an iPad because I was worried he wouldn't be quiet with like earphones, and I don't like to do that, but I'm like, we're gonna do longer sits.
Yeah.
He didn't even pull it out of the bag. Like, his eyes were like this, and
Just waiting.
yeah, we had a really action-packed day, and yeah, so did shed hunting, just kind of anything I could. They came out and shot their bows. Like, they'd come along with me when I shot my bow, and so they just kind of were always involved in it. never really asking at first, but also not really upset about it. And then, yeah, it's just kind of, they're at the age now where they see me do it all the time and they want to come on every trip and do everything. And it's been good.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
So your oldest son did something pretty amazing
Oh,
this
yeah.
last fall. So
Yes.
for those that aren't following John on social media, his son connected on his first big game harvest, right? His first
Yep.
big game harvest was
Yep.
a whitetail buck this fall. So
Yep.
that's all I'm going to say, but I'll let you kind of tell the story on how that happened and share his harvest.
Oh, yeah. It was awesome. So he put his time in too. That was the other thing. Like, I set up a blind early. He actually came out with me and set it up with me. And I felt a little bit bad because my youngest just sometimes wasn't able to come, whether he had something going on or there was a few sits he wanted to come on too with the bow, but we were in quite a bit tighter because again, the rule change happened so fast that I had to, my buddy works on bows and does stuff, the guy I elk hunt with. So we had to up his poundage and get him shooting with a bow. Like now he was always shooting, but poundage wasn't up.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, we got to get this going if you want to come hunting. And I wasn't sure. I'm like, I don't know if he'll come do much, but anyway, so he did a lot of sits with a bow, and one of the sits we had like, I don't know, he's probably 130 140 inch deer, and he couldn't draw his bow back, he was shaking so much, and
Yeah.
that hooked him. He's like, I'm sick. I'm like, at first I'm like, what do you mean you're sick? And he's like, I feel sick to my stomach. I'm like, oh yeah, this is it, you got the fever now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, good experience, right?
Sorry, he started. So this year, when he was eligible to hunt, he started hunting with the bow. Like
Yeah.
you got him up to there that
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah,
Wow.
so we got it up to, we were over 40 pounds and he was shooting pretty good at 20 yards. So we had to be really tight. And so this buck, A, wasn't 20 yards yet, and B, I told him when to draw and he couldn't get drawn back, which was fine. Good experience.
Yep.
No issues. So anyway, did lots of sits, few sits. And like I was going to say, so I set a blind up on a trail where they would come out to a field, but it was hard because we were just so tight. He had to be 20 yards, right? And kids, even at that age, he can sit still. I'll give him props, but every snack, I've learned a lot of lessons along the way, just make some noise. So we didn't see a ton in that blind. That we sat a couple other spots without a blind, making like you do on the ground, makeshift blinds and stuff like that. We don't really have the trees where I hunt to get too many stands. I'll do some saddle hunting, but he can't come with me in the saddle yet. He's not there yet. So so we sat in the blind and he didn't see anything a few times, and he never really got discouraged. And then, so like I said, set the blind up September 1st, which is a bit late. I like to set up earlier, but just again, everything was rushed, and I got 3 kids and trying to do stuff in the summer. My girlfriend my girlfriend's a saint when it comes to hunting season, so I try to do what she wants as much as possible.
Yeah.
And sat, and then last week of October, I didn't think we were going to sit again, so I moved the blind back, but same spot. We had lots of bucks in there on camera, and I think we did 2 sits with the rifle. And I bought one of those bog tripods because I want it to be as controlled as possible. Like, good experience.
Right.
Let's not have. And yeah, they it was funny. A doe and a fawn actually came out, and this I want to say it was November 5th. I think I'd have to look at my phone. Don't quote me on that, but I think it was November 5th. And he had hockey practice, and it was hockey pictures that night. But they were at 7:30, right? And it was dark at like 5. So I'm like, probably not going to see anything. So a doe and a fawn come out, and then we're sitting there, and a buck came out with his nose up, grunting, and chased that doe off. Like, they were gone. Like we didn't even have an opportunity to shoot. Like, my boy was like, "What buck is that?" And I'm like, "I don't know." Like, I didn't even have, like, it had antlers. Like, it just came out, chased it off, and was gone. And the fawn came back out, spun around. So I'm like, just sit, like, we'll be quiet. So we sat, and there was, I don't know, it was probably 20 minutes left of legal light. And then doe came back. I don't know if it was the same doe or what. It came back out of the bush with this buck following. And I'm trying to edit. I got to sit down and edit some video, but he didn't even give me a chance to turn the camera on. Like, he had it lined up. I said, when you're ready to shoot, like, shoot, because it came out broadside. And it was closer than I anticipated where it was going to come out from, like our normal trail. And I'm like getting the camera ready, and then just boom. And I'm like, and then, like, I didn't want to film because I now wanted to see if the shot was good. And I'm like, reload, like, you know,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
whole thing. And it took off. And so I have a video on my phone. I've shared parts of it, but he got like super emotional after that, which was good. And I said, he's like, I shot my friend. And he was crying. He's not upset. He was just overwhelmed with emotion, like his first. And it looked like a good shot. So I'm like, Kate, we just have to go find it, right? So I called a good friend of mine and we waited, and there's no snow at this point, but that night it was supposed to snow. So there was some problems here. Like everything wasn't lining up for me. And in my mind, I'm like, of course it's going to happen tonight. Like
Hockey
it's supposed
pictures.
to hockey pictures. It's supposed to rain and snow, all this stuff. So anyway, we and I have a 6.5 Creedmoor that it's a pretty heavy gun, plus putting that in that bog, and it has a suppressor on it, or not a suppressor, a muzzle brake, so there's like no kick. It's like shooting a BB gun. So he was shooting that gun. So, but sometimes I don't get the exit wounds on that gun that I like. So anyway, long story short, we get looking at blood, and there's blood, but we get about 50 yards to the trees from where he shot, and not the greatest blood. So, like, I was more worried about his deer than when I'm blood trailing something. Like, you know, your mind just starts to come on. Like, I do not want a bad experience, but it worked out. I got him to stand where we had lost blood, like my boy, and then we just started taking trails, and we found him. It was a perfect shot. It was closer than I anticipated, and that gun was shooting just about an inch high. So like it looks he lunged him, but he aimed perfect. Like, so yeah, couldn't have been better. Found it. I had to call his hockey coach. I had to call his mom. I said he'll have lots of hockey pictures, but he won't have a first year. And so everyone seemed to understand. And yeah, he was stoked. He was like, oh, he's still stoked about it. So yeah, it's a great experience. Better than me shooting something. Like, it was so good.
Yeah. So he, like, even at that young age, he went through all the emotions that I guess you and I and a lot of other people probably go through, right? When you harvest an animal. So that's awesome to see. That's awesome.
Yeah, the adrenaline, and he's had some good coaches. Like, obviously I've taught him with a bow, and the guy elk hunting with taught him with a bow, and I know he didn't harvest with a bow. And then one of my really good friends, he used to be like a sniper in the military, and I've done some, not shooting like that, but he's just had good coaches. I would have liked to shoot again. Everything was so rushed. Like, I would have liked to shoot with him a bit more, right? It's crazy. I shouldn't say this, but I never sight any of my other guns in. I always sight just my hunting rifle in. And so I want to say it was the end of October. One day I'm like, I should just go shoot 2 or 3 of these guns. And that Creedmoor has just always been in. It just shoots lights out.
Yeah.
I couldn't hit the board at 100 yards. And I'm like, I'm so glad I took that gun out to shoot, because he would have missed, and I would like, yeah, and everything just kind of lined up. And again, don't judge me. It was rushed, right? Like, in my mind, I'm going to take him out and we're going to do a whole bunch of shooting. We're going to get sighted in. We're going to get him comfortable. And yeah, life just happens, and it all worked out in the end.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I shot it that day.
How far of a shot was it on the deer? How far?
I think it was about 85 yards. So it was close. Yeah.
Nice.
I had it. I would have liked to sit back now in hindsight. I mean, it worked out, but the spot I wanted to be tucked into, it just worked. So where they normally come out, and there's a few trails there, and they go to the field to feed, it's usually about 120 yards. He just came out. I don't know if that doe, if it was the same doe and had spun around, and this smaller buck had followed her out. But yeah, so it wasn't a hard shot. But again, I wanted just everything controlled and a good experience, which he had. Because you hunt long enough, you're gonna have the other way around. You just want the first ones, and as many as you can, obviously, to be good, to get them skilled and knowing what they're doing. And yeah. So it was good.
We've all been there where you can. I think we visualize it, right? Like, every time I'm out in the bush, whether I'm hunting elk, deer, whatever I'm doing, as I'm sitting there and nothing's happening, in my mind, I'm like, okay, something's going to walk out here. That's 100. Okay, be ready. Be watching that. At least I'm playing it over in my mind.
Oh, yeah.
We know how well the animals like to cooperate sometimes, and they just don't cooperate, or they do something unexpected. And I 100% get what you mean when you're like, I wanted to get that camera out, and it didn't. And that was like my whitetail this year. I don't leave myself a lot of room to get cameras on. And I went to open the door of my camera twice, and the gloves and a release and a winter coat on. I'm like, missed it. I'm like, I don't have time to get it. Like, this is gonna have to be a replay in your mind. And I mean, real camera captured it, which was
that's unreal.
A little bit ahead of time. But no, it's and I think maybe everything happens for a reason too, right? Like, you going into sight in that gun that he shot with, if you didn't, I mean, there's everything happens for a reason.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And it's, filming, I give you props. Like, I'm doing this YouTube thing, and this year I'm like, I'm going to get some good hunt film. Well, I was so pissed off that I just stopped filming. Like, I'm having a hard time. Yeah, I should share the experience regardless. And that's next year. That's my goal. But in my mind, I'm like, nobody cares. So I just stopped filming because I'm rattled, and I'm trying to be, I want to harvest an animal. And there's more to it. There's more to hunting than that. But so this year, I was super frustrating for me. But in that moment, I just thought I was going to have more time too, right? Like, when I'm by myself, I got my camera on the tripod, and I usually have a GoPro or something set up. And I was like, I don't need the tripod because he's going to shoot and I can hold the camera. And then that's the other nice thing about when you do get that film, you can rewatch the footage and good shot, I can wait, whatever. And I give you props for filming, because it is definitely, it's difficult when you're filming with someone. You got to make sure you guys are communicating. But at the end of the day, first year, I probably have enough to make a film. I just won't really have the shot. So we'll see. I got to get down, and editing's another ball game. But
I would encourage you to continue filming. It's speaking from my own experiences. I've been in the same boat where you are, where it's you have to have everything perfect, and you got to have this. And if you don't have that, it doesn't feel like you've captured anything. But you do, right?
Yeah.
I used to think that if I didn't have the kill shot, I don't have a story. And although it took me a couple years, there's always a story to it, right? And I mean, and it's your story, and that's the thing that's so great about it. Whether you got 10 people watching, your family's watching, or nobody's watching, that is your time capsule. That's for you to look back on. And I've always told myself, and I'm over 50 now, I just turned 51. Everything that I've done is going to be harder to do as I get older. So for me to go and look at this in another, literally, I might only have 20 years left of hunting when I'm 70. Am I going to be doing what I'm doing now? Probably, hopefully, but probably doing all the same things. So you will get more efficient at it. And you're right, it's hard. Like, even when I'm hunting with Leon, the camera's out, and it's never really, I hope it's never really gotten in the way. I know there's some times where I have missed opportunities on kills where got to get the camera out. Oh, they caught my movement. Oh, I was too busy working on this. And I'm like, man. So I've kind of gone to the mindset of capture what you can, but in the end, you still have to enjoy the hunt. And ultimately, I mean, I love smoking meat on my smoker. So that's my, my end goal. I want a freezer full of stuff that I can eat all year long. So.
It's elk is hard for me because it's just so run and gun. So it's just so, elk's a different world for me. It's so dynamic, and me and my elk hunting partner, I mean, you hunt elk hard too, but we hunt elk so hard. And so I have the camera with me a lot of the time, but it's just so dynamic. Like, I don't know. It's hard to explain every situation, but we had situations this year. Some I stopped filming because I was frustrated. That was the reason. But had I been filming, I don't know how I would have got some of that action on camera, because it's just so dynamic. So but it's fun, and that's, you got, like you said, you got to keep doing it. It's dynamic, but people do it, and just got to keep at it. So
I find elk hunting, it's funny because it can feel like it takes forever, and then it also happens so quick. And when it's happening, what some people don't understand, they're like, they were 20 yards away. Well, what do you mean 20 yards? You didn't have a shot and you couldn't see it. I could see this beige going through, and I could see, but I can't see it. And I'm like, I think I have it on camera, and I'm using my camera. And then you look at it on film, and all you're looking at is leaves, and you're like, man, it just never kind of comes through what what you experience with your own eyes and your memory, right? And I've always said I would love to just have someone come out, give them my camera gear, and be like, just follow me around and record everything. And it's hard. You got, whether it's a bow, whether it's a rifle, a backpack, a bugle tube, like your hands are, at least for me, my hands are busy. I'm listening. You're bushwhacking and going through spaghetti and trees and
yeah. Well, and like you got to trust, like you got to trust the person too, right? Like, not trust is maybe the wrong word, but like I don't want to say I get mad at people, but like me and my partner for elk we're pretty intense, and when there's mistakes that get made, I beat myself up, and so I just don't want somebody. I don't want to be mad because like they were behind me and moved, and I had an opportunity. I'll never get mad at them, but I just it's a difficult thing. Yeah, because I did the Montana thing this year, and I think you gotta excuse me, I have a cold, but I could have maybe got someone to come along with me and film, since I do like most of the filming with my buddy. Like when we did his hunt last year and he was successful, I did all the filming. But there was an opportunity, if I really pushed, I could have got it. But I just also it's just hard. Like, especially you put that money and the opportunity, and I didn't get anything anyway. It was my own fault. So maybe if I had someone with me, I would have been successful. But at the time, I'm just like, I don't know. We'll see. But
yeah. So when we talk about, we talk about filming and doing everything else that makes elk hunting harder than what it is, because maybe some people will find it easy. I still find it a challenge. Although I've gotten better at it, I've learned how to communicate and talk their language a bit. It's still hard. And you've had, I remember whatever, it was over the course of 24 hours on your Instagram, you shared the stories and the nightmare of your elk and with the trail camera video in that story. So I would love for you to share kind of that story, what you went through, how it all turned out, because we've all been there. When we talk about relatability of what someone goes through, man, I felt you and I knew exactly what you were going. But for anyone that maybe hasn't seen that, give us the opportunity to hear about your elk season.
Yeah, so I'm like relatively new at elk. Like, to be honest, me and my elk, oh man, this goes way back again. I can talk. That's the problem. But
that's a good thing. We're on a podcast.
Yeah, I had a guy offer to take, and I've told this story because me and my buddy, I've hunted with the same guy forever, and the reason that happened is because I just went, a guy took me out, I think it was 2019, and I was addicted. I'm like, these things scream in your face, like and in my mind, I'm like, you can call them in September with a bow so you can get close. Like, oh, this is gonna be sweet. So year one, I go out on my own, and I got some permission by fluke, and without getting totally into that and making this a whole story, nobody wanted to go with me. They kind of laughed at the spot I was going, so I was like, okay, well, whatever. And this guy, he's been my friend forever, and he bow hunts and does a lot. He just was working that day, so got this permission. We went out there, and that's how we started elk hunting where we hunt. So this year, we're excited, but we had a really warm September. And so these are just my experiences. Again, not a professional, but this is kind of what I read in my area. And that's the other thing. You try to like listen to podcasts and learn about elk, but they're different. They're different. Oh. The guys that are calling them in the mountains in the States, they do nothing the same. Not nothing, but it's vastly different.
Different game.
So it's and I have a lot of people, good people around me, friends and people that hunt that area that have helped me out. So I definitely have help. But so yeah, we got excited. We went out and it was just quiet. Like last year was chaos. Like last year there was elk bugling in our face. Like I don't know how we didn't get anything last year, but last year was chaos. So this year we started hunting first. I think I was off the 2nd of September, which is when we killed our 2 bulls together in 2023. And so we were out quiet. And so anyway, we hunted, and I had drawn the Montana tag. So we had made a plan to go to Montana. My elk hunting partner, he has 4 kids, and he had just had one in August. So we were shortened. Yeah. God bless his wife.
Yeah.
She allowed him to come. So we had 5 days. So we'd already planned that. So we had got some permission and we were after elk, but just quiet, like nothing. One of the days at the beginning, we had a bull within 50 yards in some bush and some corn, and we couldn't get a shot, and quiet, like it wasn't responding to anything. Like we tried everything in our bag of tricks, nothing worked. So we're like, well, it's quiet here. Let's go to Montana. I kid you not. We got to the spot we hunt in Montana, and we went out to go do some calling, and we were just getting ready at the truck, and my trail camera went off. And up to that 14th, we had been sitting a water hole in the middle of this field, and because it was so hot, they were coming in the evening and at night, but never when we were there. And I kid you not, the trail camera goes off, and there's 3 bulls just hanging out in the middle of the day. Not even not middle of the day, but like 3 o'clock. It's not dusk.
There's
It's not
daylight.
like,
There's daylight.
yeah, like all the time in the world. Like, and so obviously you're in a different country, so you're frustrated. And
you remember that, a blessing and a curse? Yeah,
those are yeah, yeah. Yes, ban them, please. Like, actually don't. But so anyway, we hunt Montana. Well, Montana's dead quiet. You know, towards the end, we got a couple bugles. We did some crazy hikes. We talked to some locals. You know, there's lots of elk sign, but they're quiet. And when they're quiet and it's mountainy and bush, it's really difficult. We had one come down past the logging road right at dawn one morning. It was still dark, so I literally dropped off the side of the mountain, tried to get below him because of thermals, and get a run, and he disappeared. I'm sure he took off. But so no luck in Montana. So anyway, came back here, and I'm trying to remember the full story, but so I wasn't going to share it either. That was the other thing. I was like, I don't like hitting an animal and not finding it. And so nobody does.
Yeah.
But people seem to get like mad about it, which is fair. So I wasn't going to share it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to share. Like, I'm just going to share it. Like, be honest. Why skip that part, right? So, and don't quote me if you watch the story. I think I'd have to look back on my phone, but I think I hit. So I was by myself. Obviously, my elk hunting partner had a lot going on at home. So, and we both work different shifts. So he wasn't able to come that day for whatever reason. And so I went out, and we had actually went there in the morning is what happened. We'd got this new spot. Finally, the guy said, like, yeah, go out there. You have 2 weeks till the cows go out. So we went out, and we literally almost got trampled by a herd of elk. Like, we were slowly moving through the trees and doing some calling, and all of a sudden we caught them in the field. And then they got spooked by something. It definitely wasn't us, because they were running. And so me and my buddy just moved really quick to the fence line, and I just popped my head up, and there was a trail, and I'm like, oh my God, like there's 30 of them running right at us. Like, and then they're just in the trees, snapping sticks and crashing. And like you said, you can kind of see elk, but you can't. And you're like, oh, they're everywhere.
Yep.
So anyway, we tried looping back around them, obviously the wind is very important. So we tried making a move. It didn't work that morning. So anyway, we went and sat the water hole for a bit, and my buddy had to take off. He had to get going home. So that evening, I'm like, I'm going to go out there. So by myself, I just went and sat this high spot, and you could kind of see into a cornfield, some bush where they like to come out of, and there was a water hole. And I was tucked into some trees, like couldn't really see me. And all of a sudden I seen a bull in the corn, and I had cow called, and he was trying to go downwind and come back to me. So it's really hard to explain on here, but I tried to drop back into these trees enough that I had some shooting lanes, and he probably wouldn't win me. If he came out into the open field and he got far enough, he would win me. But if he came up the fence line and there was a bunch of rubs and all kinds of stuff up the fence line, I would have a shot at 30 yards and he wouldn't win me. Like, I just dropped back there. So I'm by myself. So now I'm just being quiet. I don't really want to call. So it's starting to get to dark. Like, I probably have half an hour somewhere in there, and just nothing's happening. I'm not seeing them. I'm not hearing them. So I just did 2 little cow calls, and all of a sudden I just hear a bark like behind me. So he's supposed to be coming in front of me.
Yeah.
And I turn around, and there's a bull standing in the middle of this canola field. Like, the canola's taken off. This is in October, because I found things really heated up in October. And I'm like, oh, well, now I'm pinned. Like, I'm by myself. I just cow called. Like, how did he get around me? Like, I'm like, all these things are going through my brain. So, but he's not really spooked, because he definitely doesn't have the wind, right? Because the way I'm sitting, the wind's it's blowing away from him, and like, I was more worried about this other bull, right? So anyway, it's again really hard to explain on here, but so I have bush backing, and another thing that I heard once is like everything, and whether some guys believe in this or not, but everything you think of as a whitetail, I think it was Paul Medell, he's like, forget it. Like, you don't want to be behind trees. You want as long as stuff is breaking up behind you, like your silhouette, and obviously you can't be waving and all this movement, but like that's how you want to be. So anyway, I just sat there and I guessed the range. That was my first problem. And so I thought 50, and I shot right over his back. And so I cow called right away, and he turned around, and he was like, he had no clue what was going on. So this time, like, I'm not going to be
He
stupid.
didn't spook with the sound of the bow, or
No, he took off, and he maybe went 30 yards, and then I cow called right away, and he turned around and came back. And he wasn't a very big bull. Again, I want meat. Like, I got lucky with my first bull there, and I mean, I want to shoot big bulls, but I wanted meat. So, and so he comes back, and I ranged him, and there was kind of like a hill there, so I could only see his head, but I ranged him. Oh, his head and his front shoulder, and he was still walking though, and I ranged him at 69 yards. Perfect. Set my bow to 60. That's the other thing. I switched my bow setup this year a little bit, which we can get into, and I'm not sure whether I like it or not yet. But so I set my dial to 60, and I drew, and he kept walking. And once he crested the hill, it was probably 4 or 5 steps. I had him fully broadside, and I shot again. And like, honestly, I'm like, oh, the arrow, it was perfect. The arrow flight, I'm like, this dead bull. And then it hit right where, and oh, sorry, I aimed a little bit high with my 60.
Yeah.
And so it arced, and I'm like, this is perfect. I have a bull. And wham, it hit right where I was aiming. And I'm like, what? So anyway, I tried everything in the book after the canola field was open, right? It had been taken off. So
you did hit him, but just
I hit him
high.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right where I was aiming. So idiot, again, everything's so dynamic. He walked 5 or 6 steps, and he was broadside, but he was moving towards me a bit too, right? So he's kind of quartering too, but not crazy. But in an elk takes 6 steps. He was probably 60 yards.
Another 10 yards,
Instead, I'm aiming that 69. So, like, my own fault. Like, just things are happening in my mind. You're like you said, you're running yourself through what you're going to do. So he zigzagged. I actually thought he was going to go down, because he would zigzag this way and then zigzag this way. And just like, I thought he was going to lose his footing. And I tried bugling, because my other bull, for my buddy, it stops. Like 2 of the bulls he's got, I bugle and they stop with an arrow in them. They don't really know what happened. Yeah. So anyway, he doesn't stop, and he goes into the bush. So I call my buddy, I go back to my bag, and then as I'm back at my bag, the bull that I was originally going for is where I wanted him to be, and he takes off. So there were 2 bulls, and which, I mean, had I made a good shot, it wouldn't really matter. So anyway, I waited about 20 minutes. It was starting to get pretty dark. Not dark, but like, I wanted to see if there was blood where he went in the trees, because it was going to be really hard how fast he was going in the canola. I could see his tracks. So I moved my way over there. I always carry ribbon in my like flagger's tape in my vinyl harness. Yeah. I flagged where I thought he went in, and I looked for blood, and I had like a tiny little bit of blood. And then the bush was so thick, I backed out for the morning. And so I always tell people, this is the other thing, is like, my first instincts when I shot, like, after the shot, you'll convince yourself that it was good. You're like, everyone does it. You pull up like elk vitals and you're looking at all these different shots, and you're Googling. It happens all the time. No, like, this doesn't happen to me, but I always say, like, your first instincts. And so when I shot that bull, I was like, shit.
Yep.
Right. And that you're usually right on your first instinct. And I stand behind that, unfortunately. And again, even myself, I tell myself that all the time, but by the morning I had myself convinced it was going to be a dead bull. So hockey again, I had hockey practice, but luckily it was very early. So my elk hunting partner, he went out super early. He was able to find some blood, pin it for me. We went out. I searched all that day, all the next day. I had to work, so I tried flying my drone. Because I knew I was going to hunt for a few days, and never found him. Talked to the farmer, he never. So I, to this day, I don't know what happened. But so I was rattled, and I was already rattled about the season, and then it got worse for me, not for the bulls. There was no more injuries, but me and this same elk hunting partner, we went to a different spot, and we were sitting. They like to come off a feeding area, so we weren't going to call that morning. And I had a bull in the middle of a cornfield for 45 minutes just hanging out there. And like, if you've heard corn in October, like there's no sneaking. So I just had to sit. Yeah, I just had to sit and watch. And so we couldn't figure out. We had 2 cows and 2 calves come our way, and they were like 80 yards from me, and I couldn't figure out why he wasn't following them. Like the rut seemed late to me this year, and September was so quiet and so hot. Like we thought for sure he was going to come. So we waited, and then he kind of moseyed on back. So I was like, well, what, like, we haven't had any luck this year with calling. So I'm like, what's the point in going out there? And my buddy's like, well, let's just sneak around this corn, and there's some bush on the backside, and let's just see. So we sneak around, and again, it goes back to what I said just previously, having stuff behind you. We were in the wide open, like probably 20 yards from the edge of the corn to the bush, maybe 30, no, probably 20, maybe less. And then there's kind of like an opening, like some trails where they run and stuff. And so we just sat down where we thought maybe we'd catch them. Like it's kind of hilly in there, and anyway, it's hard to explain, but we thought we'd catch them and be able to get eyes on them, and nothing. So my buddy's like, let's just call. And it's again one of those scenarios where, and this might have worked out, but one of those scenarios where maybe we should have set up where we were calling a little more instead of just being like, let's just call. So he was like probably 15 yards to my right, and I was kind of on this crest, and there was just some bush, and we had corn behind us, and he made a couple cow calls, or actually calf calls, and a calf came out. And like, if I'm sitting here looking this way, the calf is like straight 20 yards away from me, broadside, and the wind is blowing this way. So if she gets to a certain point, she's going to wind us. So like, I'm looking at my buddy, and he's like kind of side-eyeing me, and we're just waiting, and then we hear some smashing in the bush, and I'm like, oh, okay. So, and then all of a sudden this bull comes out, and this bull was probably 350 inches.
Wow.
And yeah, so he comes out, and he kind of comes like slightly quartering away and gets to like a little hill, and he stands up on it. So I can't really see his hindquarters, but I can see the front good. Now you talk to my buddy about the story, because obviously he thought it was a frontal shot. So yeah. I'm looking at him. He's like not looking, like I'm side-eyeing him to see like what, like we're pinned a bit. And so this calf starts walking, and I'm like, she's going to wind us. And sure enough, she wins us and takes off and busts into some trees. And just like, I'm explaining this longer than it was. Like this was all split second. As soon as she went into the trees, I thought he was going to take off. So I drew my bow, and like it just worked out. He must have looked at her, and then he didn't move. He just stood there. And so I didn't range again, like an idiot. But in my mind at that moment, if I was going to get away with any movement at all, it wasn't like I had one movement. So I'm like, he was close enough. I guessed him to be 30 yards. And
wow.
Yeah. Well, he was farther. Well, you'll find out. But he still was. He was very close. Like my buddy's a few feet down. Like he very close. Like, and so I let it buck, and then right away I was upset, and he thought I hit him, like because I swore, and then he thought I hit him, and I'm like, he's like, you got him, and I'm like, no, like I shot right underneath him. So went and got my arrow, and he ranged me, and I think I think he said the range was like 38 or 37 or something.
Yeah.
So he was further, and it shot underneath him and hit some trees.
So this question pops into my mind, John. Have you always used a rangefinder? And I asked that because I didn't get a rangefinder until I'll say 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago. And I rely on that damn thing now. I am worse at judging yardage now since I rely on that than I was before I got it. Before I got it, I'd be able to be within a few yards, like never perfect, but I was a hell of a lot closer before I relied on my rangefinder.
Yeah, I've always had one. And like, if this year taught me anything, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that went wrong this year, and it's my own fault. Like guys are going to watch this and probably give it to me, but I should have just ranged. I think I would have got away with the movement just because the way I was broken up. It just feels like you shouldn't get away with that movement. He's so close, looking right at me.
Bust you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, so I've always had one, and I'm really good with like, when we're walking through the trees calling, like doing a calling setup, I always range like 4 or 5 spots, or like me and him, when we're walking, we'll guess ranges, and like in downtime, like, excuse me, I do all that stuff. And just this year, wasn't my year. But I learned in both these situations to use the rangefinder first. And if they bust, I can sit here next year and tell you a story about how I used my rangefinder and they busted, but I didn't miss a shot. And so I also think like missing and having those types of opportunities, it like weighs, it can weigh on your confidence. And as you know, from shooting a bow, like
Yeah.
I want to be 100% confident in my equipment and 100% confident in myself going into the season and throughout the season. So when that kind of stuff happens, you start to second guess yourself, and that's just never good. So I was already second guessing myself for that miss before, just because of the other situation. And so, yeah, elk was rough this year. And then I went back to Montana at the very end of October. It was rifle season there. So I took a bow to a gunfight, and it was expensive tag, and my elk hunting partner that always goes with me, he just couldn't make it up. And so, we didn't run into any elk. I think we were a couple of days into the gun season there, and I think they had like taken off. There'd been a couple cows shot, and did a lot of hikes, and we seen some sign, but just never got any. It was late for them to bugle there and be calling back. So, and when we were there, my elk hunting partner actually harvested an elk here. So I just, wherever I'm not is where the success is this year.
How would you, and I've been there where your confidence gets shaken. You've missed a couple shots. Happened to me this year, and it took me a couple days. I'm like, I'm not ready to go back out. And a couple of my friends were like, what do you mean you're not ready? And I'm just like, I don't know. I don't want to miss again. I want this. And I wasn't angry. I don't know how. I just was just like, empty. That's the only way I could describe it, was empty. So once your confidence gets shaken like that, what do you do to pull yourself back out and be like, hey, I got this? How do you give yourself the pep talk to fight another?
Honestly, I'm regrouping this year because I talked to my buddy who's my elk hunting partner, like Lucas, and he's a killer, man. I won't tell it to his face because we chirp each other, but if that guy gets his bow drawn back on an elk, it's dead. He's killed one every year for the last, the year before we had our double. So I want to say 2021. He's killed one every year. So
he's on a streak.
yeah. And nice. And he just told me, he's like, you just got to work on your process. So I've been doing some research, and I think there's a lot of options. One is that what's that guy's name? I'd have to look it up, but he talks about the shot process and running yourself through. Your mind will try to
shot IQ?
Yes, shot IQ. Yeah. So I find that very interesting because I think that's just like a lot of what I'm doing in certain moments is so it's all in the brain. And again, like if I'm confident, I'm shooting well before the season, and I keep shooting in the season, and you don't have misses, I feel like I'm confident. But as soon as anything happens, you lose that. So I think I'm just going to regroup and redo my process here throughout the season when I'm shooting outside and stuff. And range.
Yeah, no, I get it. And it was, for myself last year, really, really confident, shooting my bow, shooting lots. I was dialed in, confidence. That's the only way I can explain it. I was like, I can make that shot. And I was shooting out to, at the range, the static range is like 50 yards. I'd go to a different 100-yard wall, stretch that out to 70 and 80. And my shots weren't great at 80, but I tell you, after going through my process and shooting at 80, when I would go to 40, it felt easier. I'm not saying it was easier, but for me, I'm like, oh, this is so close. This is way better. And that was last year. And this year, as the summer went on, I was just like, I am not, like, what is wrong? I'm doing everything the same. And then you go through that process in your head, right? You're like, okay, I'm anchoring, get the halo. Where's this? And for whatever reason, it took me longer. I struggled. I remember it was September, and it was before we left for elk hunting. And I had a chance to go sit in the bow zone on the target buck that I know is going to come out for the first 5 days of September. And then I'm not going to see him. And I'm like, I'm not confident. I went to the range instead of went hunting just to get more reps in. And for whatever reason, this year was just different. And I couldn't, I couldn't nail it. I don't know why.
Yeah. It's just, and I changed. I don't make excuses. It's 100% me, but I did change a lot this year. And I think, so not an excuse, but I think subconsciously I convinced myself to, like, I wasn't as confident in my gear, which, like, I bought a brand new bow, and I bought a new sight and I use a thumb release. I changed everything this year. Stupid, but I changed everything. And I'm not going to unchange it. Like I still have my old bow, but I'd use the same bow with a 5-pin slider, and I went to a 3-pin, and I'd use a wrist release, and then I went to a thumb release, and yeah. So it's not an excuse. Like I'm going to use all that stuff. It's just I think I convinced myself that was the not that was the reason, but before the shots, even I had myself convinced that this stuff, I don't know, didn't work or whatever. I don't know the answer, but at the end of the day, like I said, it was just, I want to say it was a bad season, but I knew when I'd sit here at the end of the year, it's not, because I'm getting out and I'm able to do all the things I love. Like at the time, it was frustrating, and I was extremely frustrated. I never want to hit an animal and not find it, and then to miss another one was just it was tough. It was a tough year. But now we're trapping, and my boy got his deer after, and I joked with my buddy. He actually texted me for Christmas, and he's like, what did he say? He's like, have you recovered from the season yet? I said, yeah, I'm just a cameraman now. So I'm a trapper and a cameraman.
I mean, the seasons are emotional, and I mean, I know at the end of it, and there's some years it's November 30th, and I haven't had a tag failed, and I driving home and I'm in tears, and I'm like, oh my God, like all the time, energy, money that I've put into this, like to have nothing to show for it. I mean, it hurts. So I think it's okay to feel that way, because we set expectations for ourselves, and when we don't meet those, it's okay to feel disappointed, right? And it's just do the regroup and get back on the horse, and away you go. But
I'm hard. Yeah. I'm hard on myself, and I'm miserable to be around. Like I was just the last week in November, I was miserable, but which isn't like, that's not, I can't. So it's a learning, it's learning for me. And then I'm just hard on myself. Like I was like literally I'd sit there and I was looking in the past, and I'm like, well, do I just suck? Like, I thought I was I'm like, maybe I just suck? Like, maybe that's just the answer. Like,
I laugh because I tell myself that every day.
Well, yeah, I know. But you honestly, you're like, oh, maybe I just got lucky. Like, is that what happened here? Like, so anyway, and I mean, I'm blessed because I'm able to go out, and that's what I need to tell myself. It's very difficult to do that at the time. But hunting season. And I said to my buddy after the season, like, now, I'm regrouping, but I'm like, maybe I just need a year off. Like, I take it so seriously and I go so hard that when I have a year like this, I'm just like, I'm just hard on myself. So maybe I just need to enjoy, and I do enjoy it though, as a thing. But but we're out of the season, and
so
regroup.
Before we get into the trap line and the cabins in the wilderness, with the season that you had and the learning lessons that you talked about, what are your goals for next season? Do you have stuff in your mind that you're like, here's what I want to tackle, or have you not got there yet?
Yeah, no, my goal is to not have this season again. You know what? I bit a lot off because I thought I was good. So I thought, I'm like, get an elk here and then go to Montana. So yeah, no, I think I'm just there's nothing, I don't have really anything crazy planned. Same old elk. The mule deer population around here is not what it used to be. So I used to love hunting mule deer, and I haven't found a deer worth that. Just when I met my girlfriend, I told her once, we went for a cruise. This will explain it better, but we went for a cruise, and I said, I'm like, I really like hunting. She's like, no, I get that. I'm like, no, I don't. No, like I really like hunting. Like, and I'm like, I'll find a deer. And when I find that deer, like, there's nothing else that takes my space. I go to sleep at night trying to figure out what that deer does and how to kill it. I will be on my phone on iHunter trying to figure out where that deer is. Everything in my power, right? And so in that cruise, there was a mule deer I was after, and we, about half an hour after that conversation, we seen the deer, and I got it in the spotting scope, and I just looked at her, and I'm like, remember that conversation? I said, there's the deer. And anyway, that's kind of how I tell the story, is like, I used to just, go all in and be hard. But the mule deer population here, I go for cruises, and it's just, I haven't found anything that's been like that deer. So I go for cruises every year and see what I can. I'm blessed to be, for whitetail and moose is a draw out here every 4 or 5 years. And and I'm close to Strathcona County, so I can do some hunting in there. I have a little bit of permission. So anyway, the moral of the story is within half an hour, I have some pretty good hunting opportunities. So I'll always go out and cruise. But as for like specific trips and plans, like Montana and all this stuff, I don't think we have anything next year. We talked about Idaho, me and my buddy, but my elk hunting partner, and I think I didn't draw, so and I think he said he didn't either. So yeah, just kind of take a step back and just kind of take the kids out and enjoy it.
Yeah, no, that's sounds like a great plan. That's a great
Yeah.
plan. Moving into what's really fascinated me with you and the group of friends that you have out on the trap line and building the log cabin, which was, I have so many questions on that, on how you did it. Did you use any equipment? Man, that must have been work, and your probably muscles are still sore from it and whatnot. But
yeah, you can cut out all that talk about the hunting season. You don't even have to post that stuff. We'll just talk about this.
So what, and I think it's because I remember meeting him, I think it was at the SCI event. One buddy that's been doing that for a while. So tell me how that group of friends came together to do what you guys are doing out in the woods.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, so it's always hunting. So so I've known him and his dad for years. Like actually I bought my mom, not even me. My mom bought my very first truck off his dad.
Okay.
What happened was he's quite a bit younger than me. Like me, him and his dad are kind of all spaced perfectly in age almost. So anyway, I just knew he hunted. And so as a hunter in my area, I was like, I want to know what he knows, like just like a hunting thing. And anyway, from that, I was his best man at his wedding this year. And I kind of said that in the speech. I'm like, like that talk turned into like a couple beers after hunts, and it just warped. And again, without making this too long, like I remember they'd bought this trap line and it's in BC, and they're like, you got to come out, you got to come out, you got to come out. And they would go out lots in the spring to do like work on stuff, and it's beautiful there. So I'm dumb, so I was like, yeah, it's bear season, like yeah. So finally one year, what were we doing? There was a project that had to be done because they like wanted some help with it. I don't know, I can't remember what it was, but anyway, doesn't matter. And so I'm like, I finally put some time aside to like go out there for a week to 6 days, because that's kind of what I get off for work.
Yeah.
So once I was there, I was hooked. I was like, okay, like when are we coming back? And so that's kind of how that started. And then from there, we did all kinds of trips. We were doing trips in the fall a lot. So we went when this October, he got married. So the October before, I think it's an episode on my YouTube. We insulated and tinned a cabin and like get stuff ready for the trapping season there. And it's hard to explain. They ended up buying 200 acres as well as the trap line. So they have the trap line, and then they actually have like land that they own, right? Because the trap line is it's run a little bit different. Yeah. So they have a cabin there, and that place has like power, cell service, like that kind of stuff, right? And it's kind of like the home base. And so the 1 October, I'm like, we just got talking over beers, and I'm like, why don't? It's so hard to trap on the one side. It gets quite a bit of snow. It's two mountain ranges, so when I talk about this, it's going to be difficult to understand. But the only way we used to be able to access it is you go to the 200 acres, or you continue on down the highway. You go down a bunch of service roads, and you get to like the first set of cabins, which are like two smaller cabins. Like if you see my videos, the long, narrower cabin right by the river, that's like the first one, and then we have to quad back and boat across to that old cabin with the other cabin that we stay in. There's two cabins together, also right on the river, but we have to cross the river to get there. Right. So those are kind of, we call that one the far cabin, and we call the other one the tavern. So so those are kind of how it worked. But I said, well, why don't we can go across and come in from the backside, because the people that owned it before had taken them out there, and there was like an old road and an old trap line where they used to trap years and years ago. It was grown in. Yeah. So they told me that, and I love adventure, so I'm like, well, why don't we go there? Like, why don't we cut some trail? Let's go. Yeah, let's get changed. And so that's literally what we did. The goal was to get down to the river. So from their 200 acres, you cross the river, one river. It's the Fraser. You cross that, and then you kind of go through the trap line, which is where we're trapping right now, and we cut all that trail. We there was trees down and stuff, but you could tell it was an old road. And then we really had to cut some trail to get down all the way down to the other river that those other two cabins I talked about are on. If you're still following me, it's a little confusing.
So you want to have them spaced out so that you can still work around an area and not have to come back. Just to get back to a.
Yeah, exactly. And but they're all down the same old service road, but just the service road stopped getting used throughout the years. So when we cut down, we started going along the river that really old cabin is on and the tavern are on, right? That's the same river, and there's a road. So we cut all the way down this one October to that road, and now it opened up. We're cruising down that road. Life's good. We're like, we're going to be able to get to our far cabin from the 200 acres. Like, this is unreal. We don't have to drive all the way around the other way. We can connect them. Well, we were wrong. So in the mountains, there's ravines, and they take all the bridges out for the roads, right? When they put those forestry roads in, they'll go take the bridges out. So they're literally, I was leading the way, and I was like cutting and ribboning trail for the most part, and they were coming behind me and widening it. That's kind of was but now we were on the road, so we didn't have to do much of that. And there's just a big sign that says bridge out. I'm like, uh-oh, that's not good. So we had 3 quads and winches and a tub trailer, and we ended up getting through a couple of these bridge outs. And then just the way we had it planned, we had to get to the cabin within 2 days so that we could get out. And so we started getting to these ravines. I'm like, guys, we got to turn around. Like, we at least got a tent for the night, and then we can see what we're working with, because it was muddy and we were winching up these ravines and we were losing the tub trailer and just having a heck of a time. So again, this is a bit of a story, but we'll get to the cabin and how this works. So we went back to the very first bridge out, and don't get me wrong, there's a few ravines you have to go through to get there, but they're doable. It just can get really muddy, and so we went back and we set up a tent, and we spent the night, and then the next day we just wanted to see how far past the ravine the furthest one we had got to, how much farther and how much harder it was. So I stayed with the tub trailer, and they took one of the quads so they wouldn't have to winch every quad, and they came back. They're like, there's still at least 2 more, like, let's go back. So we went back, reported what we had seen, and I had pinned a bunch of stuff. And so his dad, like the head trapper, he's like, well, we should build a cabin back there, because we got looking at the map, and there's a bunch of old forestry trails, like right where that first bridge out was back there. So that's how the conversation started for the cabin. And then we ended up building a cabin. So
and when you guys did that, so like, to add on to your story, you had to first make your way to there, which was a whole bunch of work. And then once you're there, find that location and clear it and start cutting and stacking.
So the head trapper and his son, they had went back, and we had kind of guessed the spot we wanted to put the cabin on the map. And they went, I had to work. I wanted to go up with them, but I just had so much going on that I just couldn't make it. So they went up for just a 2-day trip, took in a little bit of supplies. So obviously we used some dimensional lumber for the roof. We had tin, we had a door and a window. We took in like some of that stuff, some saw oil and some screws. They took that in, and they went to where we first were going to build a cabin, and it's a swamp. Like, it goes down by the river, and you can tell it floods out. I thought maybe it was an old gravel pit, because sometimes they'll blow up spots in the rock, and like there's no trees and grass there, so it'd be a good spot to build. It wasn't. So they came back and they cleared just this little spot that we had. So it was already cleared. There's only, I don't know, there's 5 or 6 trees they had to clear in that spot. Like, this is where we're going to build it. So then we made a plan. He got together. I think there were 7 of us. Again, I'm not looking at but I think 1, 2. Yeah, I think there were 7 of us, and we made this plan. I get 6 days off again, so we were going to go up there for the 6 days. And honestly, it blew my mind. So to get there is hard enough. So it's not an easy trip. Pulling the tub trailer again. This is all on my YouTube, but like, the tub trailer flipped over. It had our wall tent in it. Like, just a lot of work to get there, getting stuck, doing all that stuff. We finally got there, and it likes to rain. We call it the rainforest there. So we got there, and we set up, like, as soon as it was like raining, I threw on my rain jacket and pants immediately, because the last thing I want to be is wet. And I'm like, we need to get this tent up like yesterday. So my tent's pretty easy to set up. Boom, we had it set up, and I'm like, we can throw everything in here, and at least it stays dry, and we can set up the other tent. So we get lucky. The rain kind of passes. It didn't really rain a ton. We get the other tent set up, and then it was pretty nice, and it was nice for the rest of the trip. But I remember, to be honest, I remember not wanting to go on the trip. I remember being like, oh, like, again, the hunting thing. I'm like, I'm taking a week away to, like, I don't, my girlfriend's a saint, but like, I'm all this time away, and now I'm doing it to build this cabin.
Yeah.
And like, it's one of the best trips I've ever had, obviously. So I'm so glad I went, but just my mindset going in, I'm like, oh, okay. And then we're sitting around the fire having a beer and got our food and stuff. We got everything set up, and we're going to start the next day. And I'm like, there's no way we're going to build this cabin. Like, we'll be lucky if we get a roof on, like, in my mind. Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, because we were trying to make plans like, hey, well, let's fall a bunch of trees, and then we're going to have to delimb them. We got to drag them up, all this stuff. Right. So I'm like, everyone should just fall trees to start. Like, we need a pile of like 40 before we even start. So anyway, long story again, I can talk, but it just went way faster than I thought. We did start everyone kind of falling trees, and then we got a pile of like 15. And one of the guys with us he's pretty good at everything. Like, so we had to cut up a bunch of roots, and we had those like little cinder block things that you like would put a fence in or put posts in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so he tried to square the inside as best he could and get it as level as he could. And then we did like what's called button pass method. So rather than notching the cabin, you put like long and then short, and then long and then short, right? And you alternate your whole way up. And then he bought these big stakes that we staked to stake them in. And so we just found a system, and like the first day I was like, we stopped for lunch, which like was like 2:00 by the time we stopped, and guys were tired. Like, we wanted to quit. And luckily the head trapper, you could tell guys were not grumpy, but like, we worked, and it was hot. And so we ended up
What
working.
month were you building this in?
It was in June. Yeah.
In June. Okay.
Very beginning of June. Yeah. So we got most of the walls up like the first day, and I'm like, Jesus, like this is easy, I guess. Like, and
yeah, how did you get those logs up there? I mean,
yeah,
I know 7 guys and strength will do so much, but man, those have to be heavy.
Yeah, they were brute force, and we had a good crew. Like, there were 3 older guys, and then there was 3 of us younger guys, and honestly, we just get one end up and slide them across and get them in place and hold them, and then we take a saw and run it through to kind of like get it flat and get it to sit on. Like, it's not perfect, again, you talk about the chirps online, like some guys are like, you should have took all the bark off, it's gonna rot. And it's like, sure, but I don't have endless time. Like,
yeah,
this is my first cabin. I learned from it, but to do that would have taken way longer. So yeah, it was just, we had no tools. We had, like, I shouldn't say no tools. We had chainsaws. I took my Sawzall. We had a big hammer for the spikes. We had our quads, right, to like stand on.
Yeah.
And like, we had a grinder, like a Milwaukee grinder. That's how we cut the tin. Like, we didn't have pulleys. Like, we just lifted it. And the hard one was like, again, we had a guy that just like knew the logistics of like trying to build this. So we called him the foreman, and he was like, without him, he did a lot of, so we got the walls up that day, and like, we had to spike where we were going to cut the door too, right? Like, all the other spots we'd spike, but now we had to be careful where the door was, because you don't want to saw through spikes and all that stuff. So, figuring out those logistics. And then when we got to the roof, we had the 1x4s that we were going to use for the tin. And you'll see in the video, we kind of put them and made a makeshift peak and just screwed them in. Yeah. And then we just kind of kept putting logs and cutting them to like make the cabin, like the angle of the roof.
Yeah.
So that's how we did that. And then as we got up, we had to do the ridge pulls, right? So we knew we were going to have 2 ridge pulls and then 1 in the peak. So those were the hardest ones. Those, we got everyone up there and kind of like just use quads to get it started. And then we'd stand on the quads and lift them over and slide it across, and then pegged it in. But the walls were done. So I think the walls it's the same as a wall tent. I want to say we went about 5'8", 5'6" to the edge of the walls.
Yeah.
In hindsight, I maybe would have went a little bit higher, just because we're going to add a floor. So we didn't do a floor yet, and it's not done, but
Right.
we were just out there. Like you'll see on my Instagram, like we made the journey out there, and like it's livable. They stayed in it in October. Like if you needed to, you could stay there. But yeah, so and then the second day we were able to get the roof on, and then some of the tedious stuff took the third day, like the window and the door and getting the tin all set up and the ridge cap on and kind of that stuff. And then we kind of pounded logs in the gaps underneath and spiked them. Yeah, I'm trying to think what else. I guess I'll let you go away with the questions, but yeah. At the end of it, I'll end with at the end of it. I was like, wow, like I expected at the end of 6 days to be like, we need to come back for another 6 days, and we do, but like to actually build the structure, I thought it would take longer.
Yeah. So what we see on the videos, like up to this point, that was done in the course of 6 days.
Yeah.
By 7 guys. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is a lot of lifting. Anyone get hurt? Like so that's where my brain goes to. Like, right? Like as I get older, I seem to take less chances, I guess I'll say.
Yeah.
20 years ago, I'd be like, yeah, we're good. We got this. But when you're working with that kind of weight out in the middle of nowhere, were there any injuries or any?
No, one guy smashed. We drank a few beers. Obviously, we you probably see in the video. But so one guy smashed his thumb pretty good with the hammer. But I have a first aid background with my job, so I have built a pretty substantial first aid kit. I had a couple things go on last season that made me build. I always took it for granted, so it made me build like an actual first aid kit with like tourniquet and like stuff that you'll need. But I had some meds in there as well. So yeah, he just needed some extra strength ibuprofen and another beer. I think everyone was sore, but we were lucky and nobody got like really hurt. Nobody fell. Nobody like because you're working at heights too and doing all that stuff. So there's just there was like none of that. So it I don't want to say lucky. It just you know where you are and yeah, you just take time to think about what you're about to do and how to do it without taking crazy risks, I guess. But yeah, so that nobody got hurt.
So with the 7 guys that were out there and the amount of work, blood, sweat, and tears that you guys put into that, I'm assuming that group, that brotherhood is you guys are a big group. Like what describe the feeling of being around people that you can trust, that you can know everyone has a part to play, a role to play in it. Like that must feel awesome.
Yeah, I honestly can't describe the feeling. Like, so I've known so it was the senior trapper and his son and one of their best friends. They call them cousins and uncles and his son. And then it was me and another young guy, and then a guy who I was actually on a volunteer fire department with for a bunch of years. I've known him for a long time. So it was all of us together. So everyone just kind of brings a different skill set, right? Like, yeah, it's really difficult to explain the feeling, but like it's just you do a hard day's work, but you really enjoy what you're doing, and then the meal and the beer around the fire at the end of the night and the conversation, and everyone is feeling the same thing because you're all accomplishing this task together. Like take one of us away from the equation, the task becomes harder, and everyone, like I said, brings a skill set. Some guys were good with saws, and the one guy, like I said, we had a level as well there and stuff. So he was just really good at like, put a log here, do this, do that. Here's what we need to do. Brainstorming ideas when you did run into the odd little problem. Like, the young guys, we were the grunt work, right? Like we did lots of the heavy lifting and lots of the pounding of the spikes and like me, if someone did get hurt, first aid background, the other guy that was there, first aid background. So for me, that's nice to have another guy that you can feel confident in. So the feeling is very difficult to describe.
Yeah.
You got to do it. And I'm not necessarily build a cabin, but like, if there's something you want to do, you just got to do it. And like I said, I didn't say it out loud, but in my mind, I'm like, oh God, like this trip's kind of getting in the way. And I do it. I'd never hunt again. And I do that over and over again. Like it was a cool feeling. So we're going to go back there. I don't exactly know when. I don't know if it's going to be all 7 of us. But we need to put a floor in, and we need to fill some of the cracks. Like there's a lot of cracks like people have mentioned, like we're well aware. It's just, we got the structure up to keep the snow and water and all that stuff out. And so now just kind of, I think like we're going to cheat a little. I think they stayed in October and they had a lot of moisture and condensation once the wood stove was in. So I think we're going to spray foam the roof and build a floor, and then we might even fill some of the cracks with spray foam. Yeah, I get it. It's not old school. I've seen some comments too about, oh, you do all that and then there's a Rona door, and it's like, yeah, I mean, you can go build a cabin and build a log door. You're more than welcome. But I think for us, it's about the trapping and extending our trapping loop and being able to have a place to stay. So I think we'll floor, spray foam, make like a wood shed to keep the wood dry and stuff. And yeah.
Well, and it's going to be a place that all of you can go and enjoy, whether you're hunting, fishing, trapping, just going out, sitting around the fire, looking up at the millions of stars, and just a place to appreciate, right? Like, wow.
Yeah. You have any other questions? Like, I don't know what else to say, but if you have questions about it, fire away. It was unreal. It's hard to get to. Like I said, we just went there, and there's like a lot of ravines. Well, I shouldn't say it's hard. When there's snow and it's frozen, but we had got a lot of snow and it wasn't frozen. So with the sleds, we were breaking through all the ravines and it was getting muddy. So, and it's not daylight this time of year there. Like, there's not a ton of daylight. So we got there about 1 o'clock, ate really quick. I took some pictures, did the cabin stuff, and then we had to turn around and head back out. But when we do stay there, obviously we'll be able to stay there for a few days. And
so how long of if you're doing it in like the summer, the fall type thing, from where you park your vehicles, how long of a quad ride in?
I would say it's about 2 hours. You could probably get there in about 2 hours. Yeah. It's about 20 kilometers. I think that I had panned it out. So the distance isn't crazy, but it's just, the ravines can be tough. And if you do get stuck, you got to winch and do a few things. There's a couple, not big, but there's deeper ones. And there's always work to do up there, but I don't look at it as work. Like, we got to widen a couple trails because in the snow, it kind of caves in. So it was hard getting through some of those, but I would say it was about 2 hours fully to get there. Okay. We checked traps on the way in there. So I didn't keep track of time because we were stopping a lot, but on the way out, I think it was almost 2 hours on the dot from one to the other.
Right. And the trapping is something new for you, right? If I remember correctly, did you just take a course on this recently within the last year or two, or?
Yeah. So that's the other thing. My dad used to trap muskrats and stuff back in the day. I think it was just more common. I don't necessarily know. I never trapped with my dad, but I don't necessarily know that he did it. I don't really know why he did it, but I do know he trapped and did muskrats. But so it's new to me. Took the course. Again, when you go back to social media and people are always gonna have something to say, like, I'm new at it. So at first I'm like, I don't know how much I want to post. I don't want to get, but I'm like, you know what?
Yeah,
I'm learning. So learn with me. Like, these are, and I've got some really good comments about do this, do that, and like positive ways, like try this. So it's been super new. I've learned a lot from people around me. I'm also very blessed to have a really good friend of mine owns a trap line here in Alberta, and his partner on that trap line is like very well known within the Trappers Association and is very skilled. He teaches the course himself. So I've been lucky to go out there and I'm going to be this year. I went out last year a few times, be junior on the line this year. Again, I try to get out as much as I can, but it's hard. But I learned a ton from them. So I have the opportunity at those two different trap lines. So it's nice because ours is about a 7-hour drive to get to the cabins, and it can be so I try to get out there, not just trapping, but in general the whole year, because there's unreal fishing. Like you've seen on my YouTube, Take the Boys Fishing there. So I try to get out there around 5 to 6 times a year. Yeah, kind of depending on the year.
So what have you trapped so far? What kind of critters have hit baits?
Yeah, so out there, a lot of marten. So we have 10 marten already this year. We got a weasel in the last trap. We have some lynx, so we set up a lynx cubby on our last trip. We didn't get any, but there's lynx out there. And I want to get into wolves there. But so our plan this year, actually, what we're planning on doing is, I don't know. I think we're gonna try maybe in the summer to finish that cabin. But the problem is like, you got to finish the cabin, then we also got to cut some line there, right? So I don't think we're gonna trap exactly where that cabin is for 2 seasons yet, because the tavern cabin, which is the one you drive around to, again, I try to give them names. We want to go set up there. There's like kind of a meadow there, and we've actually had 2 marten come right into camp there, and we've seen we had wolves on trail camera there. So the problem is you have to sled in the winter to get there. So we're gonna hopefully go in October and cut our loop and set our traps up, like not set the traps, but like have the boxes in the trees and have everything figured out.
Yeah.
And then we want to go there in the winter and stay like I would stay. I wish I didn't work, but we want to go stay about that week. Maybe I can squeak 2 weeks out and trap that next year. So and then in that process, finish the cabin, and then maybe next year cut some line at that cabin, and then start over there and kind of have like the 3 spots. But that's kind of what we're thinking, is next year to go to that tavern side. We've been wanting to go there a couple years. And again, if you follow me on Instagram or on YouTube, it wouldn't have been on YouTube because I wasn't doing it yet, but on Instagram, we actually went out to that tavern cabin and way back to that old cabin in February the one year, and it snowed like it's snowing outside right now. Like there was I didn't know how we were going to get out of there, even on sleds. Like it was a wild experience. And so you can see the type of snow they get. So we definitely have to set that up beforehand. So
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like you're saying, right? Like you have a little bit more work to do so that it's just maintaining after that. And it's going to make
yeah,
your job easier in the years to come rather than
yeah,
just push through it and jump to the good stuff.
yeah,
Are you like doing all the skinning and fleshing yourself too, or are you
yeah.
up to that point?
Yeah, so I skinned the weasel, and again, very blessed in Alberta to have my friend. So you learn the muskrat, and we learned a coyote, and we learned all that stuff in school. And then so I haven't done a coyote since. I want to start doing some coyotes here. They're not worth anything right now, but it's
Right.
keeping the skill, right?
Yeah.
And so the martins, the head trapper this last trip, we went over like skinning again because he had got some tips and tricks, and I got the same from my buddy. So yeah, I can skin marten. I can skin probably anything. It's just like it's doing it and then stretching it and fleshing it and doing all that so that you get some money at the auction. So
Right.
last year we got our biggest learning curve when the senior trapper took the furs to sell, and the guy buying them gave him a whole bunch of tips on how to do stuff, right? Again, like hunting, it's kind of a dying trade, and so everyone's trying to help each other out. You want to continue it on. So
Yeah.
yeah, I would be comfortable skinning most stuff. If it's got quite a bit of value, I would maybe want some help, like a lynx the first time or a wolf. I know what I'm doing, but I think I'd
Right.
want to be with someone. And then we got lucky when I went in Alberta here to my buddy's trap line. We got 2 river otters, and he caught a fisher while we
Wow.
were there. Yeah. So and then we went and set wolf baits there, and they actually caught on our snares. I wasn't there for the catch, but
Yeah.
the ones we set, they actually caught a wolf, snared a wolf on it. So
Nice.
yeah, so I've been kind of lucky to see a little bit of everything and just try to learn. But like you say, until you get your hands on and do it, it's so we kind of went over the marten again. I've done a few of them, and then the weasel was very similar to that, but it's smaller and could be more tedious. And I was able to do that on this trip, no problem. So yeah,
Yeah.
just learning. Like anything, I like to learn, and this kind of people used to make a living doing that stuff. So it's I wish I could make a living. Like I'd quit my job tomorrow and live out there. The head trapper, he just went from November. He went for 7 weeks. So when we went, he came back, but he had been out there for 7 weeks. So
Yeah.
that's the dream.
Yeah, for sure. I guess with lots of experience, lots of knowledge in the wilderness and the outdoors. So one of my wrap up questions is kind of, what have you learned in the outdoor lifestyle that you carry into everyday life?
That's a good question. Oof. You hit me. You put me on the spot. You know what? I don't know. I don't know. Just I guess being prepared a lot of like I wouldn't even say everyday life, but like I give my kids a hard time. They'll go outside without a winter jacket, and I'll be like, I'm kind of old school with the way I teach. So like I
Yeah,
told my youngest the other day, I said, if you go outside without a jacket again, I said, we're gonna go out there for an hour and you're gonna learn why you need a jacket,
for
right?
sure.
Car breaks down. That's kind of not the greatest answer, but that's something that like just always having mitts too and stuff in my car, just knowing like on the trap line if something breaks down, I've seen it posted a couple times from guys like if you're not willing to walk back from however far you're going, maybe don't go that far, right? Like so
Yeah.
yeah, it's but that
No.
and just like appreciation for the moment, I guess, because when I hate the rush of every day and I'm the first one to be involved. I'm the first one, like, I have my phone, I have my Instagram, I have YouTube, you know, I go to kids hockey, I go here, I go there. But like when you go back into the woods, whether you're building that cabin, time like slows down.
Yeah.
And I miss that. Like I'm sure we all do, right? And if you haven't experienced that, it's something in the outdoors where like, sure, I bought a Starlink, so lots of times I have service wherever I want to go,
Yeah.
but I also have times where I just don't turn, like I don't use it, and it's just nice to have world slow down. You don't have your phone. All you're worried about is food, warm, shelter.
The basics. Yeah.
Right back to it. Right. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's been good. And I'm big on like my kids don't necessarily even they do, but they don't necessarily even have to like love the outdoors and being in it. I just want to teach them the values that I think our society is losing, like that come with the outdoors, with respecting it and like, yeah, just being out there. So, yeah, it's important to me to carry that tradition and kind of heritage on. And so, kind of answers your question, but yeah,
no, for sure it does. And I think a lot of us can definitely relate to like being prepared. And like you say, whether it's to have an extra pair of gloves or a toque in the backseat of your truck or your vehicle, just in case something happens. Right. And I know I'm guilty of it with every trip, even in my backpack. I'm like, I'm carrying all this. Am I ever going to need this for where I'm bow hunting when I'm literally a 15-minute walk to my truck? And it's like, you just never know. And I'd hate to take it out, because as soon as I take it out, it's going to be when I need it. And especially for you guys, what you're doing out on the trap line in the cabins. I mean, you get stuck out there. You're not prepared.
No,
that's life or death. That's
the
extremes of it. So
yeah, that's the other thing I guess I'll say is like, we could probably do 3 podcasts. I know we're stretching this one out, but carry a first aid kit wherever you go. I had a season last year, without getting into it, with like a couple of very, very serious injuries, not to myself, thankfully. And the first injury happened to my elk hunting partner, and I wasn't there for it. He got starsed out. I'm like, gotta have a first, like, that's just a perfect, he wasn't even far from his truck at that point. He just kind of crossed the fence, like first aid kit. And then I had something like my buddy ended up getting shot on a bird hunt, and I didn't do the shooting. It's like, I don't want to get too into it, but we can do that in a podcast, but that's the story. But I had left it in my truck, and I was just like, like I just literally 2 weeks ago went over how I should have one. So have a first aid kit, have it with you. I went and bought like an orange thing off Amazon. I don't, depending on your first aid level, like I got a tourniquet in it, like, a bunch of hemostatic gauze. Like I went and bought a bunch of stuff for it. So yeah, and then meds, like there's like a website you can get different kind of meds, like actually prescribed, like antibiotics and stuff when you're like back there, and there's like a book to go with it. I'm not going to tell people to be a doctor, but it's just nice to have some of this stuff for when you're in the backcountry, for the kind of stuff that we do. So yeah, we could do all kinds of podcasts on my past experiences or what's to come. Our goal too on that trap line is eventually we want to fix that cabin, because that cabin was built, we figure, around 1906, that really old one. And the floor is kind of giving out, and we've been able to put some guides in to keep it from buckling, but we want to lift it and redo the floor. So again, there's always something to do out there, but I'm sure we could have if people like this podcast, we can do more.
Yeah, for sure. Before we wrap, I have a list of rapid fire questions, and I kind of try to tailor make it for every guest that I have. So not looking for an explanation, just a this or that, or kind of one word answers. And the first thing that kind of comes to your mind. So sunrise or sunset?
Oh, sunrise.
Bow or rifle?
Bow.
Fixed or mechanical broadhead?
Fixed.
Tree stand or ground?
Oh, ground.
I think this one's an easy one. Wood stove or propane heat?
Oh, wood stove.
Yeah, I get it. Coffee or tea?
Coffee. Pot a day.
Elk or whitetail?
Elk.
Your biggest outdoor fear?
Holy. I don't know, not being able to go anymore.
Not be fair enough.
And it will happen.
The best word to describe the outdoors?
Oh, one word, hey? I don't know. It's everything. Let's do that.
Everything, yeah. And the hardest question of the podcast, one word to describe you.
Interesting.
I would definitely agree. And kind of on that note, Jon, thank you for sharing those intimate stories with us. Everything that we touched on today, I know I find you interesting. You make me jealous, and the things that you show, I'm like, oh man, that looks so good. Maybe I'll get there one day or do something like this on my own. But thank you for what you do. Thank you for coming on and sharing all those stories with us. And if there's any listeners on this. I'm not sure if this is growing legs or not, but and sharing those experiences with us.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you having me on. It was an honor for you to even ask. So any time I can give you is awesome, and hopefully people listen to this and enjoy it, and I enjoy what you do as well. And don't be jealous of me, just come along. Whether it's on the screen or just actually come.
yeah, for sure. And I think that's the one thing, like when you see what other people are doing, the networking that it brings, right? It's just such an amazing community. There's a lot of good people, and the connections that we make with some of these people and the friendships that develop from it. And man, it's something else. I really part of it. So
for sure. Yeah. And me and you, small world with your uncle and all that stuff. So yeah, it's definitely, it's a small world, and
awesome. We'll definitely have you back on another episode, and we can talk more things that you've been up to in the outdoor world, and whether that's fixing cabins or trapping or your son's second whitetail or your bull elk harvest. Who knows what that will bring, but
next year, big years.
Another time right here on Voices, a podcast by DOA, Dorward Outdoor Adventures. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to watch this full episode with videos and pictures of this story on my YouTube channel. Also reminding you to subscribe to my audio podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or wherever you listen.